Hello and welcome. I'm Chamaka J. Uwadoka and this is Africa in 10 minutes, where we bring to you the top business news as reported on Footprint Africa. On the headlines: Ivory Coast ranked among Africa's top 10 economies. New investments in Angola's beverage sector announced. And Dangote to invest $450 million in rice sugar production in Nigeria. And now the news in detail. Ivory Coast is among the 10 most competitive economies in Africa, with an average growth rate of 9%, one of the highest in the world for 4 consecutive years. The country has also been assigned the most attractive country in sub-Saharan Africa in terms of investment and seeks to return the country to the top 60 countries of the World Bank Doing Business ranking in the next few years, Ambassador of Ivory Coast to Ghana, Bernard Ehui-Kutua, has stated. The ambassador noted that the Ivorian government had initiated significant reforms towards improving the business environment, adding that these efforts, which had been recognized by the World Bank, earned Ivory Coast a rank among the 10 most reformist countries in the world for 2014 and 2015. He said through international community partnerships, especially with the EU, the country had achieved exceptional successes, some of which include containing the inflation rate at below 2% and keeping the budget deficit under control at about 3% of the GDP. Ambassador Ehui-Kutua said Ivory Coast remained the world's largest cocoa and cashew producer, as well as being the first African producer of palm oil and natural rubber. International financial markets were also convinced that the Ivory Coast had a diverse and competitive economy, he pointed out, saying that investors also appreciated the country's leading role in the sub-region. In other news, the Technical Unit for Private Investment, also known as UTIP in Angola, has approved the development of Grupo Sun Ocean, a project in the country's beverage sector by Sun Ocean Holdings Limited, a local partner with extensive experience in the Angolan market, Embasa from Equatorial Guinea, and Quantum Global. The project will have the capacity to produce, package and distribute juice, water and wine to significantly contribute to positive economic and social impact in Angola. Once operational, Grupo Sun Ocean targets an output of more than 80 million liters annually and creation of 400 jobs. It will initially serve the capital Luanda's market and nearby provinces. Angola has shown significant progress in increasing wealth, microeconomic stability and economic diversification over the last few years. The beverage plants will contribute to the country's stability and ongoing development of its beverage sector and creation of comprehensive supply chains. Martin Bachmann, Group Head Active Management of Quantum Global Group, said, "I am truly delighted about the creation of the project Grupo Sun Ocean and to receive the approval of UTIP. We thank UTIP's board as well as our new partners in Grupo Sun Ocean for their commitment. Quantum Global is excited to be investing in a sector which will contribute greatly to Angola's drink and beverage sector, as well as the diversification of the Angolan economy." UTIP is tasked to receive, analyze and manage private investment while considering the socio-economic justification of projects in Angola's beverage sector. It also approves financial models and feasibility assessments of projects. In other news, the National Bank of Kenya, NBK, and digital money transfer service WorldRemit have launched a partnership to enable the Kenyan diaspora make instant cash transfers home. In addition to sending money for pickup across the bank's extensive branch network, WorldRemit users can now deposit money instantly to NBK accounts in both Kenyan shillings and US dollars. Data from the Central Bank of Kenya shows that Kenyans living abroad sent home over $1.71 billion in 2016, up from $1.54 billion in 2015, an 11% year-on-year increase, making diaspora remittances one of Kenya's largest sources of foreign exchange. NBK CEO and Managing Director Wilfred Musau said the partnership with WorldRemit is part of the bank's commitment to increasing banking convenience for its customers abroad. The president of Dangote Group, Alhaji Aliko Dangote, has said the company will invest $450 million in agriculture in Niger State, Nigeria, over the next 3 years, with a particular focus on rice production. Dangote, who made this known during the 2017 Niger State Investment Summit in Minna, said the funds will be used to establish a large-scale rice processing mill with a capacity to produce over 200,000 metric tons of paddy rice. He also revealed that a state-of-the-art fully integrated sugar refining industry will be established, involving the development of over 30,000 hectares of sugarcane plantation and the production of about 500,000 metric tons of refined sugar. We are very excited about these investments and look forward to kickstarting this mutually beneficial partnership with the government and good people of Niger State, he said. The company also plans to invest over $1 billion in agricultural production and processing of selected commodities like sugar, rice, and tomatoes across the country. According to him, Niger has become the destination of choice for investments in the agricultural sector, given its rich and vast arable land mass. The group would also continue to engage governments at the federal and state levels to explore investment opportunities. In an opinion post published on her platform, Footprint Africa discusses the diversification of energy mix to assist Nigeria's economic development. The post analyzed the negative impact of Nigeria's overdependence on oil and gas on current economic affairs. Despite little to no results recorded on alternative means of generating energy, the post expresses optimism in Nigeria's turn to nuclear energy as a means of generating power. This post is available via Footprint Africa's news platform and is accessible to all users. And finally this week, the U.S. Trade and Development Agency, the USTDA, has approved a grant of $1 million for the detailed engineering design of a 20,000 barrel per day modular refinery in Lagos. The head of media communications of Integrated Oil and Gas Limited, Mr. Anyeribe Anyanwu, disclosed this in a statement made available to newsmen in Lagos. Anyanwu said that the U.S. ambassador to Nigeria, Mr. Stuart Simonson, expressed the hope that the proposed 20,000 BPD production refinery would attract more investments to the country and develop host communities. The chairman of Integrated Oil and Gas, Captain Emmanuel Iheanacho, stated that in making the proposal, it was reasoned that the localization of refining capacity, if realized, would facilitate the conservation of scarce foreign exchange whilst generating major export earnings. He said that there will be also enhanced economic value-added opportunities to be realized in terms of jobs, profits, and technology transfer, which will become manifest. We are delighted by the USTDA award, as it seems the US government and the trade agency have by this gesture recognized the economic and development potential of our ongoing modular refinery project and the Tomorrow Industrial Park and Free Trade Zone, which today comes into formal existence. By delivering these grants, the agency has demonstrated its commitment to the infrastructure development and economic growth of Nigeria, especially in the areas of export technologies and services that promote the country's refining capacity, he said. Iheanacho also said that the company would continue to celebrate the delivery of the support assistance from the USTDA. He said we also need to source investment funds to fully actualize the built-up project. The scale of the cash investments required is of the order of $250 million. The Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Dr. Ibe Kachiku, commended the commitment of Iheanacho to the project. He noted that finance was one of the major challenges facing most of those that had been licensed to build refineries in the country. He promised that the federal government will provide all the necessary support required by the company to make the refinery a reality. Kachiku said he was working hard to see how the company could be granted a pioneer status and secure various duty waivers, import facilitation of equipment, and engineering review. That concludes the news of the week. Please stay tuned for a recap of the stories. Ivory Coast ranked among Africa's top 10 economies. New investments in Angola's beverage sector announced. National Bank of Kenya partners World Remit to offer instant international money transfers. Dangote to invest $450 million in rice sugar production in Nigeria. Diversification of energy mix to assist Nigeria's economic development. And US Trade Agency approves $1 million grant for modular refinery in Nigeria. To keep up with the trending business news in Africa, stay connected. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and connect with us on LinkedIn. These news and reports are called from Footprint Africa. For daily updates and more business news in Africa, log on to www.footprintafrica.com today. Footprint Africa, business news made in Africa by Africans.